Today we'll be interviewing Mr. Ozo. Mr. Ozo has been living in Vietnam for quite a while. Mr. Ozo, it's good to see you.
Happy to have you here, Awele.
Please, can you tell us about yourself, Mr. Ozo?
Okay, my name is Uzonadis. I'm from Nigeria, West Africa. I'm living and working in Vietnam. Been here for the past 9.5, 10 years now. So I run two companies. My company, the first one I established here was exports company and customer representative company, sorry. And then I just started going into media production, TVs and music producing and stuff like that.
Thank you, Mr. Ozo. You say you are into business. So what kind of business do you do?
As I just said, I run. My very first company was established a couple of years back, and it was majorly a customer representative company whereby we represent customers that are coming from Africa to buy things in Vietnam, and then we also cooperate with some Vietnamese companies that have products to sell to Africa, or Vietnamese clients or customers that wants to buy some products from Africa. So that's basically what we do with the first company. Then the other one is my channel Afroviet, on which we're trying to broadcast or to explore on the cultures of Asia, specifically Vietnam, and bringing it to the attention of the African market and African countries, and bringing African culture also to Asia. So those are the major things that I'm doing at the moment.
Thank you, Mr. Ozo, for that. And as you said, you're doing business. And what kind of business does many Africans also do in Vietnam?
The businesses that the Africans are doing here, let me just say specifically to my Nigerian friends that I've met when I came here. You know, there's this thing about, you know, being with your brother. And once we came into the country, we got into the business of fashion first, because that was what was moving. That was what many people, even some of the customers that were coming from Africa, that was one of the major businesses they were doing. Fashion, clothing, shoes and things like that. But as time went on, we moved into some other areas of business, like cosmetics, beverages and electronics and furnitures, so many stuff that we've gone into over the years. So that's pretty much it.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ozo. Having been in Vietnam, you know how to speak Vietnamese very well. So what can you please, for the interest of our viewers, say a few things in Vietnamese language?
Okay, how do I... Okay, let me just give you a little bit about the basic Vietnamese that pretty much every foreigner that comes to Vietnam, you should be able to pick it up from the travel guides and tour books. Xin chào literally means how are you in Vietnam, or hello in Vietnam, and then bạn khỏe không, how are you, and bạn đến từ đâu, bạn ăn cơm chưa, bạn làm việc gì, bạn là... There are so many primary Vietnamese that you should be able to grasp once you are new in Vietnam. You know how to go get around the streets, and there are a lot of Vietnamese that I can. If I start teaching you Vietnamese, it will take the whole day and the whole interview.
I think it's going to be a very good thing for anyone who is listening to come to you and take some Vietnamese lessons.
Oh, I don't think I'm that good.
Okay, that's nice. You mentioned that you're a businessman, so how can you relate learning the language and speaking it very well?
Yeah.
Your knowing the language, how has it affected your business relations?
Okay.
With
Knowing the language has its perks, for sure. because there are companies that ordinarily wouldn't be open to you, or maybe they have limited grasp of English. So, but once you know the language, it opens up a whole new horizon for you. It makes it easier for you to get around the some other difficult things, because English is not really a big thing here. Though many of the new kids, many of the millennials are coming to speak a lot more English now than the older generations. So now most companies are hiring people who also know how to speak English. But when we came in here, it wasn't that. It wasn't like that. You have to go and get a friend, or get your partner or a girlfriend or somebody who speaks the language to take you around the companies. But once I was inspired to learn the language, there was no going back. I picked it up and it's been fun ever since.
Thank you very much, Mr. Uzo. Can you say that if you go to a company to buy goods and you speak only English, and you go to the same company to buy goods and you speak Vietnamese, what different treatment would they give to both of you?
Okay, the difference is, let me give you an example. If you are living in America, or if you are living in UK, and you came all the way from Vietnam to come to the UK to buy something, and you go to a British company and you are speaking Vietnamese, even though they might have somebody who translates Vietnamese, do you think the interaction will be different than when you are going from Vietnam to UK or to America and you're speaking English? You are like pretty much everyone else. The way you'll be responded to, the way you'll be not treated, because they will treat you as a customer anyway, but the way the people, the workers, the staff will relate to you, because you are very easy to communicate with, will be different than when you are not speaking English. So it's also the same that a foreigner, you come into the country, even though you might have some Vietnamese translators, but once you have the knowledge of Vietnamese language, you speak to the boss directly, because the boss might not understand English. They have to go through the translator, and so many things might be lost in translation.
Yeah, that's very true, Mr. Ozo. At least that I've had that experience a couple of times in different countries that does not speak English.
Sure.
It's good, at least, and it's also good to hear your experience.
Yeah.
And for the interest of our viewers, Vietnam is a growing economy and with many production areas. Nine Africans in Vietnam has worked very hard in trying to make some Vietnamese company start dealing internationally.
Sure.
So in that respect, do you think African business has exposed some Vietnamese companies?
Yes. Yes. Why? Because there were some companies, we most of the African guys that are living here, we have this tendency of going to places where not so many people go to. We go to different cities. I've been to some towns that you go with the boats, you go with the so many different types of transportation, because there is a company or there is a factory there that you want to explore, you want to get into, but because they were not in the